Hey there, awesome artists! We are going to learn how to make our own sketchbooks today, or books, whatever you want to use them for. We are going to learn two different ways. The first way is like this. We will just need scissors and some paper, no fancy staples or glue or anything like that, which is pretty cool. Second way we are going to learn is taking what we learned first and making it into a hardcover sketchbook if you want to do that as an option. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so these are the materials we will need: about 5 or 6 sheets of paper, then an additional 2 pieces of paper, pencil, scissors, and something to color with if you want to decorate your cover. Now, part 2 of this video, if you want to do the hardcover, you'll need 2 pieces of decorative paper for your covers. You'll need a glue stick, tape, and a cardboard cereal box. Don't hate on my Aldi off-brand Lucky Charms, it's still pretty good. Oh, and you'll also need a ruler, I forgot to mention that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing, those 5 or 6 sheets of paper, go ahead and put those to the side. We're gonna first start with the 2 pieces of paper. Those 2 pieces of paper, we're gonna fold them together in half, hamburger style, or like a card. We're going to fold those in half all the way down, and that is step number 1. All right, so once we have that, what we're going to do, remember you should have those 2 pieces of paper together folded. All right, so now what we're going to do is cut the fold. So make sure you're on the fold part, not the open mouth part of your paper. So I'm cutting along the fold. So I left about ½ an inch, and then I started my cut along, and then I'm going to stop about ½ an inch from the bottom. So I'm not cutting all the way down. So I cut from there to there, about a little gap. So when I open those 2 pieces of paper, you should see that there is a little gap in the middle, or a little hole in the middle like that. So they're still together. I did not cut them in half. Now I know this is not normally what I would say. Usually when we fold and cut, I say don't cut the fold. But in this case, you want to cut the fold on those papers. Now, you're going to grab your 5 or 6 extra sheets of paper, fold those in half the same way, like a card, okay, or hamburger style. And if you have more than 5 or 6 sheets of paper because you want to add more papers to your sketchbook, that's fine, but it's going to be a little bit harder to fold them all together. So I would just do a couple at a time. So now what you're going to do is take those little 2 sheets of paper, and what we're going to do is lay them on top of those 5 or 6 sheets of paper and mark where we started and ended our cut. So we're going to mark it on the top of those 5 or 6 sheets of paper. So I'm just going to mark where it goes. Now, we're not going to cut the same way we did the first sheets of paper. So pay attention carefully. So make sure you're on the fold. That's really important, that you're not on the open mouth part. What we're going to do now is find the middle where all those sheets are, open them up. We are going to take our scissors and just cut along the fold to where we marked our paper. So at the top and the bottom, there should be a little mark, and you're just going to cut a slit along the fold at the top and the bottom. We're not cutting the whole way down, just a little slit at the top and the bottom. Now we are going to take one side and bend the edges in, and we're going to slide that into the hole of the 2 sheets of paper that we made earlier. We're going to slide that in, and once we slide it in, it should lock into place. It might take a little work, but once you got that, just close it and fold it down, and there you go. You made your own book with no staples or glue or anything like that. So nice work. So that's pretty cool. You can make this into a sketchbook. You can decorate it however you wish. It could be your own little storybook, whatever you want to make it and use it for. That is yours to decide. So part 2 here. So now we are going to learn how to make our hardcover sketchbook. So first thing, you're going to need some decorative papers. You can look at the chalk and marker print video to see how I made those, or any kind of decorative paper will work. You'll need those sheets that we just made in part 1, tape, glue, and scissors, and you will need a cardboard box, like a cereal box would be perfect for this. So first thing we're going to do is open up our cereal box because we want it flat. So I'm going to open up the top and the bottom, and then find a corner fold and go ahead and cut that along the fold so it can open up flat. There you go. So first thing we got that done. Now we're going to take those sheets that we made in part 1. We're going to find the fold to match the fold of our cereal box. So find a fold along there and match them. And what we're going to do is create like a border around our sheets. So if I were to open up my sheets like a book, then I would see a border around. So what we're doing here is taking our ruler, and we're going to be making about 1 centimeter to 1/2 inch border around our pages here. So this is to create our cover, our front and back cover of our book. So step 1, I'm doing a sketch around. I'm kind of eyeballing it, but I definitely recommend, if you have a ruler, to measure out about 1 centimeter to 1/2 inch wide around your pages. So I'm only creating a border on the 3 edges of like open sheets. So I'm not creating a border along the fold part of my pages here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, I've created those borders. Now what I'm going to do is flip the pages over along the fold of my cereal box and continue that border around on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and take my ruler. I'm going to match up the edge of my ruler to the fold or a line that will help me create a perfect line across. And then I will go ahead and draw that around. So if you don't have a ruler, you can, like I said, eyeball it and just kind of guess around about 1 centimeter thick around, or find like a straight edge like a book to help create that perfect line. But if you do have a ruler, definitely recommend using that so you get some perfect and precise lines around. So that's step 1. You also don't want to make your border too thick. You don't want to make it like 2 inches big because it's like super big. So I would say about 1/2 inch to 1 centimeter is a good length, or about the size of the width of my finger is about how big that is. So again, about 1 centimeter to 1/2 inch thick around. All right, so once we've got that, now we're going to go ahead and cut out that box. So go ahead and take your scissors and cut along those lines. All right, so now that you have cut out your hardcover, it should be able to bend along the middle, so make sure you just fold it down so it can bend like a book. And those little sheets of paper should be able to fit nicely inside and shouldn't be sticking out and all that crazy stuff. It should fit perfectly inside. All right, so now what we're going to do is the front and the back cover. We're going to make it look fabulous. We don't really want to see Lucky Charms right now. Or off-brand Lucky Charms in this case. Anyways, what we're going to do is take our decorative paper here and we're going to glue that on to the front. So if you've got copy paper, I just use copy paper for mine. Any kind of paper that you have will work. Construction paper, color paper, whatever you want. What we're going to do is take our glue stick and we're going to just put a bunch of glue on the cover and then placing your paper on top vertically, matching the edge of your paper to the folded edge. But make sure, you'll see in a minute after I've given a little massage, see how it comes off the edge around the whole front cover. Your paper should hang off a little bit on all 3 sides there. So we're only putting it on the front. We're doing 1 paper for the front cover and 1 paper for the back cover. Okay, now I'm taking my ruler and along those corners, I am drawing a diagonal line. So I'm finding the corner, the top and bottom left-hand corner, and I'm drawing a diagonal line across, okay? So that is step 1. So once we have a diagonal line, we're going to go ahead and cut along that diagonal line. And you'll see why we're doing this in a minute, because we're going to be creating like a real deal hardcover book here, okay? So now what we're going to do, once you've cut those, now we're going to fold it in. So it should have created like a trapezoid shape. All right, we're going to fold these in a little bit and you'll see when we create that diagonal cut, see how those lines, or how those, when the papers fold in, they fold in nicely. There's not crinkling or weird things happening. It should be able to fold nicely. So that's why we cut that diagonal shape, okay? Once we have that, we're going to take our glue stick or glue and go ahead and add some glue, and then you'll bend it or fold it over to the inside and it should fit nicely inside. Now I know in my example I cut a diagonal on the inside part. You don't have to do that. You'll see later on I decided I probably shouldn't have done that, so don't worry about that. You should only worry about really just cutting those two diagonal lines on the corners, okay? So we're going to go ahead and fold them over and give it a little massage. So that is step 1. So that is our front cover of our book. So here, I'm going to show you like a hardcover book here. You can see the insides of the cover. If you have a book at home, you can see this too. So you see those little corners, those little lines, how they come in. That's kind of what we're doing here. So, all right, so that is the front cover. Now we need to do the back cover. So you're going to grab a second sheet of paper, a little decorative paper or colored paper, and again, like the previous step, add glue on the cover right there. So once you have a good amount of glue, what you'll do is take your piece of paper, make sure it's going vertical and make sure the front is facing down, and line up the edge of your paper to the folded edge of your cardboard, and then place the cardboard on top. Give it a good massage, and then you'll grab your ruler to begin the next part. Now I'm taking my ruler and I'm just again doing that diagonal line to create kind of like that trapezoid shape, okay? Diagonal line. So again here I'm doing a little diagonal line on the inside corners. You really don't need to do that part. I realized afterwards for this project it's not really necessary. I took a bookbinding class in college. I know, it was kind of strange and weird, but it was a really fun class, and so these were some of the steps we did, but for what we're doing here, that part's not really necessary, and you'll see later on I fixed it. So, okay, I'm talking way too much here. Same sort of steps, you just add some glue and bada bing bada boom, it should work, and fold it over, glue it down, and so you'll have your front and back cover of your books. We're getting really fancy here. We're like real bookbinding people. I know, it's like really cool. You'll be like a pro after all of this. So once we've got all of that glued down, give it a really good massage. And there you go, you got a front and a back cover. We're almost there. So now what we're going to do is take those sheets that we made, those little sketchbook sheets, and now we're going to place them on the inside. Now we don't want to see all this cardboard stuff, right? So I'm going to show you how we're going to get rid of that. So I'm going to place my sheets where the fold meets the fold of the inside, and I'm going to add some glue on the front piece of my sketchbook here. So I'm going to go ahead and add glue on only the front cover here, and I'm going to then fold it over, and it's going to cover now the inside of the front cover. So I'm just going to give it a nice good massage. This is called the end page. So this is what people who create books, that's how they do it. And so we glue that the front page, or the first page of our sheets, and we glue that down to cover all of that step. So we're going to do the same thing for the back. So I'm going to flip it all the way to the back. The very last page, I'm going to add glue on one side, and then turn it over and press it down. Give it a good massage and glue that down, and then your pages will be secure in your little book. So I add a little more glue, need a little more glue there. Okay, looking pretty good. And there you go. You have you're almost there. You pretty much have made your own hardcover book. So last thing, that little edge, if you have tape or like decorative tape, like washi tape or duct tape or something like that, that would be nice if you want to add a finishing touch. So I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of tape and go ahead and tape the edge or the the spine of my book. So the spine is that middle fold where it keeps all those pages together. That is the spine of the book. Just like how we have our own spines that hold us together and upright, same thing with the book. So There you go. You have made your own hardcover little book. Y'all so fancy. Very nice job. So that's all the steps here. The last part is now you get to add your own creative touches. Make it your own. It could be a sketchbook, a storybook, a comic book, whatever you really want to make your book. This is now your time to make it whatever you want it to be. So have a super fun time. I hope you had a super fun time and have a super fun time creating and keep on creating more things in your new book. So have fun with your imagination and create all the wonderful drawings and stories.